Welcome to Slow Home Studio. Too many people live in badly designed houses, and we want to change that.
It's Monday, July the 25th, and we have our second episode dealing with David's house in Westchester County, New York. You remember from last Friday, he sent us a bit of a panicky email because he's in the middle of a renovation. Actually, they're going to start drywalling today, and he wanted to make sure that he wasn't making some really big fundamental mistakes. And so we're going to give him a couple of pointers. Generally speaking, I think we're pretty pleased.
Yeah, I think the plan is pretty good. I think, as we said last week, the L-shaped kitchen with the island makes sense. It makes sense for the circulation. You know, the house overall is not badly designed. It's actually well designed. I think the issues is that we do, because of these walls, have an inferred space here, and then these two spaces seem more like rooms. There's not really a flow, and I have some questions about the circulation.
That's right. So we did post these drawings on these photos on the website last week, but just so that if you haven't had a chance to look at it, this is the framed-in opening here between the kitchen space and the family room in the back. You can see, if you've got good eyes, that fireplace there. And Matthew's talking about this space right here and what's happening. And that's really where there's going to need to be a dining space, because David's taken the old dining space and turned it into a study.
And I should say, just so everybody knows, there is a door there, so there is going to be natural light in that area, so
That's
it's not quite as walled in as what the photo suggests.
And this is the wall then between the family room and the living room.
The formal living room. Yeah, and the thing that we noticed here is there is a beam there spanning that opening. This is new framing, because if you look at the original plan, that was actually the opening. So they've added new framing there. That was one of our questions. When we go back to the plan, we will discuss that a little bit more.
That's right. Here we can see it from the other side. We've got the opening that more like that now. That's what we're going at. And basically, it's those two walls that we have a concern with.
Yeah, I think that the biggest issue has to do with the space for the nook table. I think these two walls here create a spatial reading that is like that. And the problem with that is there's also the circulation both to the hallway and to the door. It's making the space for the table very small.
And that is accentuated by the fact that we've got a major circulation zone right here through the from the back door, and that's the way it should go, like that. But what it's having to do instead, and let's just take a little bit of this away, what it's really doing instead is that, and so it's going right through where you'd want to put the door or put the table, or you're going to go around like that. So our recommendation, David, is that you should really get rid of that wall. I think we should just open that up. It gives you some flexibility. It means that you're not constrained, because if you have that wall there, you're going to have the table here. You're tight against that dimension and that dimension. Far better to just open it all up. It's going to give you a little bit of a room, particularly, say, Christmas time. You need to have a bit bigger table. You can do that, and it allows you to have that circulation through.
Yeah, and the second thing that we'd like to talk about is this wall here in particular. Now, you've created a sort of a linteled opening. Originally, the opening was on that side, but when you've added the wall here, the issue with that, again, has to do with the circulation, because the natural tendency is you're circulating there on the outside. You kind of want to come up along the outside of the wall, but you can't do that when that wall is there, so you're going to come into the center of the room. What that does is that, again, limits your furniture placement options within your media area.
Yeah, actually in both rooms, because it means that you really have to leave this zone of both spaces clear, and really, that means that you have to put your furniture this way against the new sliding doors that you've just created. Far better, as Matthew suggests, to try to have the circulation this way so that we can get the furniture going more like that, and then you have an easier access out. The other issue that I think we've got is that space right there, and how are you going to really think about using that space? And I think you'll have more options if you are able to remove both of those. If not, at least being able to have, if I just clear that up, one last thing, having a column there and that existing framing.
Yeah, and I do want to conclude by just saying overall, David, you don't need to panic that much, because I actually think the design work is pretty good. Particularly the kitchen, I think the issues, as we said, with those walls and some of the registration are fairly minor things in the plan, but if you're able to work with that, you're going to make a huge difference overall.
Exactly. Well, we hope that helps, and on Wednesday, we're going to have a new episode.
See you then. If you're interested in learning more about the principles of slow home design, you can pick up a copy of our book entitled What's Wrong with This House? It's a practical guide to finding a well-designed and sustainable home. It's available for sale on the Slow Home Studio website. It's also available for sale at Amazon.com in both paperback and the Kindle format.